Well, welcome back, everybody. It's the last dance here this weekend. We are here in Barcelona, round 9, here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya here at Montemelo, in Catalonia in Spain as well. Track length, 4.675 kilometers, 2.905 miles. Track opened back on the 24th of February, 1989, when we broke ground, and then 91 was the official opening, and the 10th of September hosted the Olympic Games, obviously with the bike race that started at the start-finish line and finished at the start-finish line as well. 16 corners is what awaits the drivers. The capacity audience that usually holds this crowd is 140,000, just over in fact. And certainly we'll look forward to seeing some great racing action. But this man, Oliver Goethe, crowned champion yesterday in brilliant fashion. Didn't he do it well? Well over 10 seconds out on track. Did sustain a 5-second time penalty after a little collision with Josh Mason at the start, which would force Mason to box for a new front wing. That didn't concern Goethe. He careered away and finished just over 6 seconds in front after the penalties were allocated. Different story today, though. Starts from 6 on the grid order. Vladislav Lomko starting first as well. Unfortunately, we are a car down. We did lose Vladimir Netashil. They've had an engine problem and therefore have had to bow out from race 2 and race 3, unfortunately. But it's been wonderful to see Vladimir Netashil on the grid this season, and we do wish him the very best as well. And Ayrton Simmons marking a return as well. He was contesting, battling with Christian Mansell yesterday. Could not quite get the job done though, but finished the line very, very quick. Remember, he went right for the back after a difficult qualifying session yesterday, but he's back, and this time starting 3rd on the grid. He knows his pace. Speaking of pace, what about the other man, Francesco Simonazzi, who was arguably in the top 3 of pace out on track. So let's see what he can do. My name is, of course, George Morgan, bringing you all the action live here from Barcelona here in Spain. Alongside me as well, the masterful, say the voice of Ian Silvestri. Ian, how are you, sir?
Very well, George. Excited for this. Thank you for that introduction. For this, the penultimate race of 2022. Oliver Goethe has already wrapped up the championship. But this will be a cracking affair. Not the biggest field in the series history, but be assured the future does look bright as we look towards 2023. Josh Mason, he was the 3rd quickest driver on the circuit yesterday. We'll take a look at the grid for you in just a moment. Oliver Goethe winning the race. Francesco Simonazzi was in superb form for BVM Racing as he raced home to a superb 2nd place, and with the exception of Goethe, who won the race even with a 5-second penalty for controversially coming together with Josh Mason. He was the fastest on the track, and then it was Simonazzi who stormed home to another podium, 2nd place for the Italian yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. Vladislav Lomko starting from the front end this time. Of course, rookie champion this year, took Goethe all the way. Got to give Lomko credit. Grand Prix de Pau winner this season as well. And a wonderful start to the season too, just conversing there with his race engineers. Alongside him, Freddie Lubin as well, the talented Brit, who is back again looking to secure yet another podium, maybe even a win this time as well. Very confident behind the wheel of a car, very well defended as well at Monza, when of course he came certainly in close proximity with Ollie Goethe. Here's Ayrton Simmons, podium sitter this season after claiming 3rd place at Hungaroring. It was very quick yesterday, closing up on Christian Mansell for that last podium spot as well. Very nearly made it 2 podiums, but this man stole the show in that podium place battle. 3rd place for Mansell yesterday. Of course, he's got a bright future ahead of himself as well. Part of the contingent of drivers that have been testing for Formula 3 this season. There's Francesco Simonazzi as well, after a very good display, very quick in fact. I mean, Oliver Goethe, when I spoke to him yesterday, said that Simonazzi was just as quick as him yesterday, and a love heart as well. Great to see it, Francesco. Let's see you attack the grid yet again today. There is our champion, Stuart Hall there alongside him as well, providing him, of course, with the necessary fluids. It gets very warm, certainly when you're driving these cars. But Oliver Goethe, he brought the heat yesterday when he claimed that championship, and he is now joining the ranks of the likes of Felipe Drugovich, Marino Sato, and many others. Alex Garcia as well, the Mexican, starting from grid position 7 this time. We all saw the delight on him and his family's face when he claimed his 1st podium overall of the season. And he's coming back here today looking to do the same again. Josh Mason, heartbreak yesterday at the start after a little collision with Goethe at the very start of the race, in fact, which would cost him his front wing. He is back again and looking to go well again here. And we have highlights now from yesterday's race. Race 1. Well, drama at the start. As soon as the green flags were waved, the lights went out. Oliver Goethe got off the line well, but so did Josh Mason. In fact, the two coming together immediately as they made their way down towards turn one. A broken front wing for Josh Mason would force him to have to box. Christian Mansell tried to attack Goethe straight in towards turn one. The Aussie not quite able to get the job done, but Simonazzi was making all kinds of moves at the start. Simonazzi would then make further moves, this time attacking Christian Mansell down in towards turn one. As they made their way through Elf Curve, it would be the Italian who would get the jump on the Aussie at that particular moment. Ayrton Simmons as well dazzled us on his return to Euroformula action. This beautiful move down the inside as we made our way through Bank San Badel. But it would be Ollie Goethe who would not only take a race win, but the championship as well, and stand tall on the top of the podium. And this is where we sit, folks. Oliver Goethe, crowned champion, 464 points. Coming into this race too, Vladislav Lomko, the champion rookie, 390 points as well. He was challenging for that title, wasn't quite able to get it done, had a challenging position to start from in 6th place. So race 2 about to get underway, folks. We will, of course, go through the grid lineups again, but obviously the formation lap is what lies ahead. Ian, obviously, we've got a lot to look forward to here. Vladislav Lomko starting from the front. You've got a lot to look forward to.
Yes, certainly, as we look at the grid, it is Lomko on pole position alongside Freddie Lubin. On grid 2, Ayrton Simmons, a fabulous drive for Ayrton yesterday alongside Christian Mansell. Remember, Lomko and Mansell, they are now fighting for second in the series. Simonazzi alongside the newly crowned champion, Oliver Goethe, they were second and first respectively yesterday. Alejandro Garcia and Josh Mason off the back of the grid. George, I have to confess, I'm still getting over that controversial call down into turn one yesterday. Ollie Goethe just launched it down into the first corner, and Josh Mason, they both made contact, but he did get a penalty. In the end, it was irrelevant because Goethe won the race by 11.5 seconds. Hopefully we get a better, cleaner start as Timo Rumpkale down in pit lane with the Motopark and Crypto Tower teams watching on the penultimate race of the 2022 season. So Goethe, he was phenomenally quick yesterday, but starts a little bit further back on grid 6. So this is anyone's race. And now the attention turns to the fight for second in the championship. After a stunning run at Monza, Vladislav Lomko now leads that battle, overtaking Christian Mansell, who was on his head upside down with a helmet full of gravel in the Ascari chicane. The curve there has overtaken Christian, second in the championship. So that is now where our attention turns for second in the championship.
We got some Spurs fans in the garage as well, so that's great to see too. But there we see the spectators watching on. I got to witness firsthand as well Timo Rumpkale's motivational techniques for his drivers yesterday. Oliver Goethe receiving a full-on cake to the face yesterday from Timo Rumpkale. Obviously didn't win by a large enough margin, I think, after that, but no, incredible to say the least. Got to witness the scenes down the garage. Of course, Oliver Goethe celebrating his 18th birthday this weekend. So there we have it, and certainly the scenes have been brilliant. Got to speak to Stuart Hall as well, who has been with Goethe now for 12 years, building up his racing career, very much part of the family, almost part of the fabric of this entire team, which is wonderful to see. But we'll have to wait and see whether Goethe can once again go again and maybe do a clean sweep, of course, but he's got a huge task ahead of him, starting from 6th place.
George, this may be an opportune time to thank Timo, Michael, and all the team for the best damn coffee in the paddock throughout the entire 2022 Euroformula Open season.
Yeah, P1 on the grid, P1 in terms of the good old-fashioned brew. Not too bad at all. But there we have it. The board's being waved now, and very shortly we will get the cars underway. And obviously it'll come down to Vladislav Lomko, obviously getting the cars underway. Freddie Lubin alongside him. Ayrton Simmons in third as well. Christian Mansell in behind. So they head out on the formation lap. You see the installation lap so they can get the tyres up to temperature. It's very important they can do this, obviously, because we've seen what can happen leading through towards turn 1 and turn 2. Elf curve. Obviously traction can be an issue unless you've got the tyres up to those recommended levels. We can see Christian Mansell in behind Ayrton Simmons. Once again, we could see a tie-up between those two outstanding talents. Of course, Ayrton Simmons, European F3, he certainly challenged in. Not only that, he's competed in various other championships as well. GB3, of course, where he would capture 4 wins in 2021. He finished second in that championship. He also competed back in Euroformula in 2020. British F3 third as well, with 3 wins and 10 podiums. He's got such a rich pedigree, certainly when it comes to motorsport, so do not count out Ayrton Simmons. And a race win this weekend, I think, would be the icing on the cake. And not only that, for Team DriveX as well, who have brought the sole car here this weekend.
Exactly, great to see DriveX back with us on the grid, the 2 cars here at the circuit, just the one on track here this weekend. Ayrton Simmons, starting out of Grid 3, arrived at the Red Bull Ring with 0 testing, no time in the simulator at all, and had a stunning run. There is Ayrton in car 12. So Christian Mansell in car 71, his penultimate race in Euroformula before racing in the FIA Formula 3 Championship in 2023, including in his home country. The second round of the FIA F3 Series that takes place at Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia, where Christian will be on the grid with, stay tuned. For the moment, he is looking for second in the championship. Vladislav Lonko will start out of pole position. The championship looks like this. Goethe has wrapped it up. He follows in the footsteps of Cameron Dass, the American who won in 2021, 82 points ahead of Vladislav Lonko. He's on 390, and Christian on 357 points. Josh Mason fourth in the championship on 268 points, ahead of Frederick Lubin on 260. So fourth and fifth, still the battle between Josh and Frederick for fourth in the series, and the title of vice champion between Vladislav Lonko on pole position and the Australian Christian Mansell.
Yeah, these juggernauts now lining up onto the grid. Lonko taking the front end, the grid position 1 alongside him Freddie Lubin. The teams watch on as well in the garages. Obviously, it's all to play for here. Wins on the table, the BVM garage, all smiles. They were smiling yesterday. Some dazzling overtakes again from Simonazzi. We've seen quite a few this season. And there we see the Mason family watching on as well. Of course, heartbreak yesterday for Josh Mason, but the comeback could be on. The green flags now wave, and here come the lights. Third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Vladislav Lonko got an almighty launch. So did Mansell as well, who is now tracking the back of Ayrton Simmons, who got a huge launch too. They make their way down towards turn 1. They're jostling for position. Simonazzi's going hunting as well. Lonko in the lead. Simmons into second. Mansell now into third as well. Sensational scenes. Lubin down to fourth. Simonazzi trying to work his way back up. A dazzling start though from Ayrton Simmons. An outstanding launch area in Silvestri.
Sensational for Simmons. Up into second place, Vladislav Lonko has got the race lead as Christian Mansell in position 4. Unfortunately, Josh Mason, when the 5 red lights went out, he went nowhere, almost stalled the car, but he's back. As you look at Oliver Goethe just ahead of Simonazzi, but Simmons up into second place was sensational. Lonko has got the lead as Mansell, with the reigning champion, breathing down his neck. Then goes Simonazzi. Alex Garcia and Josh Mason, a good recovery after stalling almost on the line for Josh Mason. Not a great start yesterday with front wing damage and went nowhere this morning as well. But it's Lonko who leads from Simmons as Simonazzi. They go 3 wide at the back of the pack. It is Josh Mason who goes around the outside of the Italian. Fantastic if he can hold it up the inside. Nicely done. Vamos, Alejandro, up into P6 as Simonazzi goes backwards. Lonko down through the chicane for the first time. Perfect start for the driver for Team Victory Lane, who will try and take car 69 to Victory Lane in 17 laps time. Across the line for the first time.
That was a wonderful move executed there by Josh Mason. 2 cars in the space of a single sector. Incredible moves from Mason. Just goes to show his desire to get from the back of the grid now. He's up into 6th place. A wonderful visit indeed. Lonko leads the charge. He's just taken the fastest lap of the race. In behind as well, Ayrton Simmons. Lubin in 3rd. Mansell now in 4th. There's a little gap there starting to blossom ahead now. Goethe in 5th as well, trying to chase down the Aussie. We have Josh Mason now fresh in that double overtake. Of course, they went 3 wide down through towards Lakea Bend. They're coming out at the outset, leading up through towards Bank San Bedell. Mason held the line beautifully through that run. and managed to get himself up into 6th place after a great move on Simonazzi, who himself has been absolutely sensational this weekend. As we now watch Mansell through the seat curve, Lomco still leads the charge. Fastest man on track right now, you could argue, is that of Freddie Lubin. He's currently fastest in the first sector, now making his way up through the first curve, obviously trying to close up on Ayrton Simmons for that 2nd place. Simmons getting a wonderful launch from the get-go. Lomco, though, he's sending it. He does not want to wait around, very nearly breaking a 2nd on Simmons, but I think Simmons actually reeling that back in. He's actually gone purple in that 2nd sector, so impressive from Ayrton Simmons as they now head through now this latter part of sector 2 into sector 3. There's Goethe, Mason getting closer behind him as well, only 4/10. Mason is on fire. He was also one of the fastest men on track. Unfortunately, he was a lap down and has managed to really pull it together and getting closer. And he can actually show what he can do now from a position where he can challenge the other drivers ahead of him. Lomco leads the way, behind now Simmons. Lubin, who is down 1 place, just taking the fastest lap now, Ayrton Simmons. You can see further back as well, Oliver Goethe trying to get closer to that of Christian Mansell. Both of these drivers testing in Formula 3, of course, this season with hopes of entering the championship for the new season. And, looking in great battle, of course, Euroformula providing the future stars of the world of Formula 1, Formula 2 and Formula 3. Felipe Drugovich, as we say time and again, not only the all-time win record here in Euroformula, but also taking the Formula 2 championship this season. As they head through this next right-hander now. There's Mansell, Goethe not far behind now, 2/10 of a second, the Great Dane, and now we could call him champion. In behind in 5th place, Josh Mason, 6/10 in behind him. Just sort of settled down now into an orderly fashion, but that start was unbelievable, and I got to give it to Ayrton Simmons. He is not waiting around. Tribex have got some pace this weekend.
A podium would be a great way for them to finish the season. A win would be even better for our astute viewers. You may have got a glimpse of Fritz van Amersfoort making his way down to watch on the pit wall there, making his way down through the BVM garage. With regards to 2023, stay tuned. There is some good news on the way for Euroformula Open. We are back on the final weekend of April at the Portimao circuit. The championship has already been decided for 2022. If Vladislav Lomco can take car 69 to victory lane, well, he may well wrap up the title of vice champion at the end of this 18-lap race. Mason in position 6. After almost stalling on the start, he was lucky to keep it going. Simonazzi 2nd yesterday, back to 7th. And Alejandro Garcia in P8 after that fabulous podium at Monza. As Lomco goes down the straight 1 second exactly ahead of Simmons. Lubin as the fight between Goethe on the outside of Christian Mansell. The Australian holds off the reigning champion for the moment. Both these drivers will be on the grid in the FIA Formula 3 Championship in 2023. Goethe as the reigning Euroformula Open champion as the sun comes out to shine here in Barcelona. Goethe on the back of Mansell. Here's an opportunity, the never-ending right-hander. And then they go down left. He's too far back in this magnificent Euroformula Open Dallara EF320 chassis. Good drive out of the exit from Christian Mansell. Just pulls another car length there from Josh Mason behind. Let's see what Josh can do in his penultimate race of the season. Fabulous comeback. He went nowhere when the 5 red lights went out.
Yeah, no, he did a wonderful job, and certainly heading in through that last sector, he did really pull it together, make those necessary overtakes. Lomco now, who's stolen back the fastest lap of the race. Obviously, we just witnessed earlier on those moves between that of Goethe and Matt, so you just see there Goethe attacking those curbs. Obviously still as keen as ever, despite winning the title, wanting to get the best result he can here today. I mean, speaking to Stuart Hall, he said, "We don't stop here," he said to me. He said, "We don't stop here, George, we go again." And we're going to look to try and get another big result here for Oliver Goethe. We've got to keep that mentality going, and that is exactly what Oliver Goethe is. He does not rest, neither do any of the drivers here in this grid order. Lomco now down this next straight, with Simmons just in behind as well. Freddie Lubin still in 3rd, having a great drive as well. He's actually gapped Christian Mansell. Obviously, Mansell's been more concerned, I think, with Goethe after that wonderful defensive effort heading in towards turn 1. Mansell did well to pull Goethe across to defend the inside line heading through to 12th curve, and then Tia and maintain that 4th spot, certainly for the Aussie. Now, further back, Mason getting into the fray. And let's not forget, he was one of the fastest guys on track when we went racing again yesterday. So unfortunately, as I said to you previously, he was a lap down. But nevertheless, he was one of the fastest guys.
Third quickest time yesterday. No one was in the same stratosphere as Ollie Goethe. He just drove away to win by 11.5 seconds. But yeah, Josh Mason was really quick. Third quickest time. Simonazzi almost lapping as quick as the race leader. Simonazzi not having the best run here this morning at the back of this little freight train. Josh Mason just ahead. Goethe and Mansell trying to hold on to that position, but it's looking good for Lomko, the title of vice champion Euroformula for 2022. If he can hold on for another victory here this morning, Ayrton Simmons would love to break through for a victory for DriveX team. That would be a fabulous way to finish the 2022 season. The gap last time was 1.3 seconds. As you look at the adopted French driver, Vladislav Lomko, out of the final corner. Absolutely flat as they come onto the straight. Not the fastest circuit on the calendar, but still over 240 k's an hour. Last time round for Ollie Goethe with the slipstream 242, just 235 that time for Lomko. As the battle between Mansell and Goethe continues, he's got the slipstream down into turn one. Mansell covers him off. The reigning champion tries the outside line. Mansell ducks back and holds off. Ollie Goethe just for the moment. They're both losing time to Lubin, Simmons and Lomko, who's got 1.3 seconds over the DriveX driver. As Goethe on the outside now will try and dive down the inside into the Rosberg-Lewis corner. Not this time. If you saw the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Now there's another opportunity. Goethe on the outside. Mansell is making car 70 wide as possible. Here at Barcelona, Ollie Goethe will get impatient and just go for one almighty send. Mansell holds him off again. Up the hill, there is only one line through this part of the circuit. Behind Josh Mason and Francesco Simonazzi, trying to drag themselves into this battle as well. Surely it's only a matter of time as they race down the hill into the left-hander. Will Ollie Goethe dive down the inside? Mansell goes deep, locks up under brakes. Who is marginally wide on the exit, but critically holds off. Car 96 just behind him.
Yeah, brilliant display from both drivers. Absolutely superb, giving each other respect, racing room as well. It's a pleasure to watch them dance around Catalonia the way they are right now. Heading down into the RACC chicane again. Mansell trying to keep Goethe behind. So there you can see the cars now panning through. Little gap starting to form now between Goethe and Mansell as Mason starts to creep into the fray as well. See Goethe not quite as close as he was previously. That gap has gone out to 0.8 of a second. He will close up though, leading down this main straight. He will be able to find a little bit of slipstream, obviously, before they then venture in towards turn one. But look at Simonazzi as well, getting right into view of Josh Mason as well. Of course, Mason getting a lovely run earlier on. There is Simonazzi now as they climb through the Renault curve. And there is Goethe, your champion, making his way through this sector now, heading down through towards Repsol corner. The gap between Mansell and Freddie Lubin has gone out to 4.7 seconds. Good chance now for Lubin to score yet another podium this season. Of course, has done it a few times already, this championship. Scored 2 podiums back when we first started at Estoril, second place in race 2 and race 3. Not to mention another podium further on in Hungaroring in race 1. 2 podiums then at Imola in race 2 and race 3. Followed that up as well with 2 podiums at Monza in race 1 and race 3 as well. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Defends as well almightily, Freddie Lubin. A class act, certainly when it comes to a fight. And really does do it well inside these Dallara 320 chassis. We're now watching the cars now venture through the Lakea bend. There's Josh Mason, still getting closer, half a second now. Goethe once again 4/10 away from Mansell. Huge chance now, he can tee up a potential move down this long straight. Of course, he's got 12 laps left in this race as well, through the Europe car right-hander before they reach the chicane RACC. There's Mansell, needs to make sure he gets a great exit out of New Holland. I think Goethe might have got a slightly better one though as they head through this final corner. Goethe now looking to fly as they head down this next straight. There you can see Lomko, the gap between him and Simmons out to 1.8. Lomko finding yet a little bit more pace, also behind Lubin, still very much in the fray, 1.1. Great to see Ayrton Simmons back here in the Euroformula Open. They've got a warning for car number 71, Mansell cutting turn 14. So a warning for him. So there you have it. Just goes to show how much he's trying to defend against the onslaught of Ollie Goethe. The Great Dane is giving him no rest.
George, I don't know how he possibly could in a Euroformula Open car, because there's a ripple strip, a, dare I say, sausage curb, around about, what, 15, 20 centimetres high.
Take it at your peril. Take it at your peril. That's all I can say.
He'd have no floor left on the car, so that's a bizarre warning. Nevertheless, as car 71, Christian Mansell, he has done superbly well to defend from Ollie Goethe. And he's still in position for trying to keep his hopes of taking the vice-champion title alive. But it's looking good for Vladislav Lomko. Another victory it would be for the adopted French driver. Here is the battle between Christian and Ollie. There's Josh in the background, and Simonazzi turns in early, does Mansell. Filipe Drugovic, you were telling us throughout the broadcast, throughout the entire season, George, he took the record number of victories. I think it was 14.
Not far off, I think that's correct, yes.
14, so Ollie has taken 11. We've got 2 races to go. He won't break the record of Filipe Drugovic, and particularly he'll struggle to get on the podium at the moment because the front 3 are gone. Lomko 1.8 seconds from Simmons, superb in second after that sensational start. Down the start-finish straight down into turn 1, Lubin, and then this battle rages on. Mansell from Goethe, too far back to make a move. Good recovery for Josh Mason. He'll have one final crack. This is Josh Mason we speak of later this afternoon, the final race of the season. 3 victories already for the Brit. Josh Mason, car 21, ahead of Francesco Simonazzi, who does not have the pace that he did yesterday. The sun is finally coming out to shine here. We are approaching half race distance, the penultimate race of the 2022 Euroformula Open Championship, with the 2022 Euroformula Open champion on your screen right there, car 96, Ollie Goethe.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. Goethe still holding that P5, trying to close up against Christian Mansell. 10 laps to go here at Spain. Lomko still in front, managed to put another 1/10 of a second on Ayrton Simmons. Lubin also another 1/10 of a second behind Simmons himself as well. Mansell 5.4. See, with the battling going on between him and Ollie Goethe for that P4 spot, 7/10 away between the pairs. Now down to 6/10 now. Mason has dropped back slightly, 1 second behind Simonazzi. Has not left him alone either, half a second in behind that of Mason. Garcia then 1.6 in 8th place as well. Lomko with the fastest lap as well to boot. He's playing the fastest lap on quite a few occasions as well this season. Obviously, he's been brilliant. Paul Ricard is where he took it the first time. He then took it again at Red Bull Ring. And not to mention twice, well, once at Monza, should I say. So he knows how to race, certainly at the temple of speed. Let's see how he can do in Spain. Can he hold on to yet another fastest lap this season? So now he makes his way down in towards the first sector. Now we see Ayrton Simmons currently holding on to second fastest at this moment in this classification. Lubin in 3rd. Mansell with the gap still in 4th. Still got Oliver Goethe there peppering the back there, currently half a second in behind him as well. An orderly fashion, if there can be one at this point. Lubin starting to bring the pace back though against Ayrton Simmons, starting to get closer between the 2 of them. So Lubin, not content with P3, might want to challenge for that second spot.
I'm sure he does want to challenge. Whether he can, as we pass half a race distance, that is another question. Vlad Lomko out front. He's driving away with this one, 2.3 seconds ahead of the 2 British drivers. Simmons in 2nd after a sensational start. Lubin, Mansell did superbly. It looked inevitable about 4 or 5 laps ago that Goethe would drive past the driver from Newcastle, north of Sydney in Australia. He's still in P4. And Goethe still frustrated. There is Mason Simonazzi and Alejandro Garcia. Lomko. George, you know how much I do love history, but an interesting fact that Lomko and Goethe were both teammates in the VDK kart racing team, the same team which took Victor Martins to the 2016 Junior World Championship in Bahrain. Last kart race was the WSK Champions Cup at Adria Karting Raceway on a freezing cold day in January of 2020. They were both teammates driving, I reckon it was Vortex, no, Iami-powered Cosmic cars at Adria. And 2 years later, here they are battling and likely to finish 1-2 in the Euroformula Open Championship And as we told you in race 1 yesterday, Nicholas Martins, who is the brother of Victor Martins, is now managing the Victory Lane racing team and race management organisation. You see the Victory Lane logo on the helmet of Vlad Lomko. So it's a small world in the world of car racing and motorsport indeed. They're looking to go 1-2 in the Euroformula Open Championship. Here is Vlad Lomko on your screen after being teammates for the Belgian VDK racing team in WSK World Kart Racing only 2 years ago.
Yeah, there's Lomko now making his way up through Birth Curve, such a rich pedigree. And you're generally not surprised with his pace and performance this season. It has been absolutely dazzling. And for a rookie to step in here and obviously do as well as he has done, taking Goethe all the way to the last round of the championship is certainly brilliant. Just goes to show how consistent he's been all season long. Very much deserving of his of a bold career in motorsport. Certainly proven that he is more than capable of hanging with the best of them. Simmons as well in second place. Of course, he's got a rich history, as I said before, and has driven to many of the feeder series leading up towards Formula One. Of course, it's quite a vibrant, feeder series that we have here, leading up to the biggest stage of them all. But as we're now seeing, Oliver Goethe make his way here in P5, trying to close once again on Christian Mansell. Gap still out by 0.6 of a second as they come around New Holland now. Across the line to yet again start yet another lap. 7 to go here at Spain. As we now see Goethe once again making his way down this straight. It's got Elf Curve coming up next, the semi-chicane of sorts. Mason as well in behind as well. There you can see Simonazzi as well, as close as ever as he has been all race long, trying to close up there as well, as we get a nice little replay pan shot there of Ollie Goethe making his way through that final sector. And the Great Dane really has delivered a wonderful championship, an amazing quality of racing as well from his part to secure that title. Plethora of wins this season. He made it 11 yesterday, came into the weekend with 10, 16 podiums, that's now 17, and also had a great record of fastest laps. The only driver to actually surpass 10 fastest laps this season. I mean, what a record. I mean, those are stats there, Ian.
Yeah, he is a driver to watch in the future, but we refer to this as the feeder series. It's a fabulous championship in its own right, dating back to, well, coming out of the Spanish F3 championship of the early 2000s. The drivers that have raced in this, it's just an astonishing record. The likes of Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, of course Felipe, who wrapped up the F2 championship earlier on this year. Let's be realistic, not everyone who races every junior single-seater category will race in a Formula One Grand Prix, but just to race at this level in these magnificent cars, it's a fabulous championship in its own right. We've got drivers, they don't actually aspire to race anything beyond this. And there are drivers, okay, a lot do, but there are drivers just happy racing in the Euroformula Open Championship. If nothing comes of Ollie Goethe's career after tomorrow, well, he will go down in history as a former champion, following Cameron Das, Yifei, Marino Sato, Drugovic in 2018, Harrison Scott took the 2017 title, Pulcini, who's racing in the GT Open Championship 2016, and Vitor Baptista took the title in 2015, a year after the Norwegian tie, Sandy Stubik. Christian Mansell, well, he's done superbly well to hold off Ollie Goethe, but it looks as though, as we move into the final third of the race, Vladislav Lomko will take the title of vice champion. Quickly trying to do some mathematics. He was, 33 points coming into this, the penultimate race of the season. And Christian will come up short if Vlad takes 25 points in 5.5 laps time.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. Still a strong contest for second place in this standing. And there we see now Christian Mansell heading through the Lakea bend with Goethe primed in behind as well. Obviously Goethe, part of a rich heritage. His family very well known in the motorsport scene, carry a wonderful Rothko collection. It's the collection of cars that you see, the Golf livery that is emblazoned on this car. Of course, the team of Motor Park have brought it to the forefront. Oliver Goethe driving it to a world championship as well. No doubt it will make the collection. There we see the Mason family and Christian Mansell's mother on the left-hand side as well, watching on, Megan Mansell.
Smile, Megan.
Yeah. Well, in front of Ollie Goethe right now, so there's lots to smile about. Fourth place on the table, 6.3 seconds though behind Lubin. as they head down in towards turn one. Goethe once again trying to get closer as they head through the first few corners. There is Mason. He's coming through. He's got Simonazzi to join him as well. There's a little break in play between Mason and Goethe. 1.3 now that gap has become as they head through the Renault corner. They've got the Repsol curve coming up next. Goethe in behind now. Behind that rear wing with Christian Mansell. Of course, Goethe, I'll tell you what, he's got an abundance of options ahead of him. Obviously, we've alluded to the fact that he's been testing for F3 with the rumours suggesting that he will be racing, or confirmation he will be racing next season in Formula 3. We take a look at the replay. Both drivers there making their way through the final sector. Christian Mansell also driving in F3 as well. He's also part of the testing contingent. No doubt has a bright future as well. So many great talents here in the Euroformula Open Championship. And of course, we speak about the Goethe family as well. They've got pedigree in GT3s. Of course, Ollie Goethe, a winner in the GT4 cars as well.
To give credit to the Euroformula cars, you mentioned the FIA Formula 3 category, which has a V6 engine putting out almost 400 horsepower. These Euroformula cars, absolute missiles, a lot less power, a lot lighter. They dart around the circuit like a go-kart. On an FIA Formula 3 grid, pole position for the Euroformula Open, given they're a lot less powerful, they put them somewhere around about 20th on the grid. They are absolutely beautiful cars. Built by Dallara, as you look at Ollie Goethe, still in position 5 in the dying stages of the penultimate race. There goes the race leader through. Vladislav Lonko, the gap is 3.8 seconds back to Simmons. It will be a podium, you would think, for DriveX team in the final round of the championship with one eye on 2023. Fabulous start from Simmons. He took second place off the line and has held it since. Pulled away from his fellow Brit, Freddie Lubin, who is 1.1 seconds behind. And then Mansell in P4, still holding off the reigning champion, Ollie Goethe. Mason, Simonazzi and Alejandro Garcia. Not a second podium for the Mexican here this morning. He'll have one final chance at that later on this afternoon as Vlad rides the ripple strip. He's got almost 4 seconds, doing it nicely out front as the Opel-based space engine absolutely screams down through the gearbox. 3 laps remaining at the end of this one. Absolutely glued to the circuit. Harry Simmons in second place and Lubin back in third. 3 laps remaining at the end of this one. One eye on 2023. The calendar has been announced starting on April 29 and April 30. That is at Portimao before going to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. The Hungaroring in Budapest for round 3. Paul Ricard in the south of France. The fabulous Red Bull Ring in Austria on September 10. Monza and the Cathedral of Speed on the 3rd weekend of September. The 1st day of October at Mugello in beautiful Toscana. And back here in Barcelona in 53 weeks' time. And hopefully, now that the world is starting to get back to normal, we may even have some entrants from Asia, the land of the rising sun, as we look at Ayrton Simmons go down through the chicane. Kazuto Kotaka taking the Super Formula Lights Championship at Okayama over in Japan. They use identical machines, identical cars. So hopefully we can get back to the idea of an intercontinental type series and drivers coming over from the Super Formula Lights series in Japan. Possibly even this year's champion, Kazuto Kotaka, who took the title just a few weeks ago, is in Okayama.
It's definitely possible. And, always great to see champions collide.
Well, there's no more 3 weeks sitting in a hotel room staring at the walls like it bizarrely has been for the last 2 years. Let's not
talk
well,
too you know, I'd like to think we've come out the other side now, which is a great relief.
We have.
Yeah, absolutely.
We ain't going back.
No, absolutely not. We're here with 3 laps to go. Obviously, Lomko leading the charge still. Goethe 4/10 behind Christian Mansell. As that gap comes down yet again. Goethe getting primed and ready to maybe launch yet another attack here on Christian Mansell, the Aussie, who's holding on to that 4th very valiantly indeed. 6.1, that gap. Time gap hasn't moved between him and Lubin. 4.2 though, that gap between Simmons and Lomko is stretched out quite convincingly. Yet another second since we last checked. Lomko, oh so quick, fastest lap already, secured that in lap 7 for 1:37.227. Now Mansell down the straight again, of course making use of the straight line speed. Oliver Goethe trying to get in the slipstream. Simonazzi also trying to close back up as well, as we can now see. Goethe getting closer again. Will he unlock the door heading in towards turn 1? Not quite. Mansell still holding firm there as they now make the almighty rise up through turn 2. They've got now the Renault curve, and Goethe looking very much dialed in now as they head through Renault. They got Repsol coming up next, not forgetting the seat corner now. Mansell still holding on, Goethe in behind too. You just see them now nose to tail. Nothing separates these two drivers. They've been battling non-stop since we went racing at Estoril all the way back in April. Blimey, you say that and it sounds like a long time ago, but I can tell you it doesn't feel like it, I can assure you. Heading through the seat curve now, down now towards the Wirth curve, and they'll make the almighty rise up through towards campus. There's your race leader, Vladislav Lomko, and he's done it superbly, hasn't he? 4.5 seconds clear of Simmons. He's just put another 2/10 on top of that. So incredible stuff indeed from Lomko, who was certainly represented well in the rookie category, rookie champion. Took Goethe all the way here to Spain. With 2 laps to go, Ayrton Simmons looks primed and ready to secure yet another podium this season, his second, and another one as well for Team DriveX, who I'm sure will be absolutely thrilled with that too.
They certainly will. The team of Juan Angel de Castro, the former Formula 3000 driver himself, now team manager, team owner for Team DriveX, as Vladislav Lomko comes across the line for the penultimate time. This is the last lap of the race. You saw Ollie Goethe get tremendously close to the back of Mansell. Got one almighty slipstream last time around, 242 k's an hour down the straight versus 235 for Mansell a little bit further back. But watch him get sucked into the toe, down into turn 1. This is the final lap of the race. Mansell has defended from the reigning champion superbly from the opening corner of the opening lap. Mansell in P4, Vladislav Lomko, we believe, will take the title of vice champion at the end of this lap. From pole position, he has just driven away. The gap is just under 5 seconds back to Ayrton Simmons. Lubin in position 3. It will be a fabulous podium for Team DriveX. And Lubin, well, if memory serves correct, the victory will still elude Frederick Lubin for 2022. He has stood on the podium, but not yet on this top step.
No, he hasn't yet. He's still yet to win his first race this season. Don't write him off, though. We've got one more race to come this afternoon. Obviously, that'll close out the Barcelona weekend. But Vladislav Lomko coming around Lakea. Obviously, it's been a testing season. It's been a battle. He's been consistent. He's won the Grand Prix de Pau already this season. Dominated the rookie standings of all as well. Has challenged the best. Has duelled with Goethe. Has duelled with Mansell. He comes down now in towards the final chicane RACC. He'll round New Holland as well. And here in race 2, a dominant display. 4.8 clear of Ayrton Simmons. Your winner, Vladislav Lomko, takes victory here in race 2 of the Euroformula Championship. Across the line, a second podium for Ayrton Simmons this season. Freddie Lubin also crosses the line, yet another podium to him as well, and across the line as well, the two that have been battling all season long, Mansell and Goethe. Goethe in 5th, but Mansell crucially in 4th as well. Mason, despite the almighty start from the get-go, could not quite get into P5, but he'll be back again for our next race. Garcia across the line in 7th, Simonazzi down in 8th.
Yes, Simonazzi with a problem on the very last lap of the race, but credit to Vladislav Lomko, and with that we believe he has wrapped up P2 in the championship. So the former VDK kart racing teammates go 1-2 in Euroformula Open for 2022. A deserving victor is Vladislav Lomko. Simmons second after a sensational start for Team DriveX. And Lubin on the podium 3rd. Mansell defended for the entire 18 laps from the newly crowned champion Ollie Goethe. Josh P6 after stalling off the start. Alejandro Garcia overtakes Simonazzi for 7th on the last lap of the race. Goethe, he won the title yesterday, and Lomko puts P2 out of reach for the Australian. Mansell, Josh P4, and Freddie Lubin, just a few points to fight between them for 4th place in the championship in the final race of 2022, coming your way later this afternoon.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. Tell you what a journey it's been, and I've really enjoyed every moment of it. We've got one last race to bring you this afternoon. Of course, that won't be until 5:25 local time, but nevertheless, it has been wonderful to watch these young stars of the future really bring us some incredible action. I mean, it's never really been a quieter race. We've seen so many moments, so much action. It certainly has delivered. You know, the drivers themselves with their superior racecraft, not to mention the car itself being just so useful to drive. The drivers have always said that they can put it anywhere on this track. The spectators have been treated to something spectacular, and what a spectacular result for this man as well. Vladislav Lomko finishing up clear 5 seconds out in front of Ayrton Simmons, who will, I am sure, be delighted with a P2. He got such a brilliant launch off the line when we got racing. Freddie Lubin as well will be thrilled to claim yet another P3 this season. But this man, Vladislav Lomko, obviously it was all about the title, but he'll take the victory and cheer, no doubt, as his team celebrate. Gets another dazzling performance for the Crypto Tower Racing team. And Vladislav Lomko will be thrilled. Celebrates there with his comrades in his garage. And out comes Ayrton Simmons after a wonderful race from him as well. Great to see him back here in the Euroformula Open Championship. He has been absolutely smashing to see. And here comes Freddie Lubin as well. He's got such a great support base, as Freddie Lubin. And a great character too. Always a pleasure to see him in the paddock. Embraces his father as well. What a wonderful display, to say the least. But yeah, all the cars now in Parc Ferme. And the celebrations can now happen. They will step up onto the podium. Of course, Lomko taking the rookie win as well. Garcia second in the rookie as well, because he overtook Francesco Simonazzi towards the end. So
he does get another podium.
He does get another podium of sorts as well.
Not the outright podium, which he drove superbly to get in Monza. Here is Vlad Lomko. But I'm sure the Mexicans will celebrate. Third outright, Frederick Lubin, the Brit. Here in race 2, the penultimate race of 2022 for Team Moto Park this morning. Team Drive X back on the podium. Perfect start from Simmons, and drove brilliantly to bring car 12 home in second place. First in the rookies, and second outright cannot be overtaken for the second place in the championship with a fabulous victory. Vladislav Lomko wins race 2, and he's down in pit lane with Alfredo Filippone.
Vlad Lomko, 5th win in the series this year, and a perfect way to finish the job.
Yes, thank you very much. It was really good. I'm really happy about this race. It was just as it should be. Made a gap on the first laps, and then yeah, it was just about controlling my pace.
And now you have basically secured the runner-up honors, which is nice.
Yeah, this is also very good. Not to postpone it till the last race and make it as soon as possible. So yeah, vice champion, quite happy about it, and yeah.
Well done, enjoy.
Well, very pleased with yet another dominant display here. Let's have a look at the highlights. And as we went green for the start of race 2, and it was a staggered start there for Josh Mason. Amazing how he managed to fight back the way he did, but Simmons was the one who got the launch of his life, heading up through towards turn 1 and 2, snatching second place. Mansell got a great jump too, held on to third, nevertheless heading down into the next chicane. Mansell having to duel with the likes of Ollie Goethe, keeping the Great Dane in behind. And there, of course, we saw him running off. He got a warning for skipping turn 14 at that point as well. But as the race continued, Vladislav Lomko still continued to show his pure dominance here at Spain. And the rookie champion, and of course second in the standings, confirming that with a big result here this weekend, brought his gap so far out as he crossed the line and took the checkered flag to secure yet another victory this season. And also coming home, Ayrton Simmons, his second podium of the championship. They could celebrate at Drive X, but no one was celebrating more than Vladislav Lomko, who would go on to take yet another win this season, his 6th win of this Euroformula Open Championship. And there we can see them all behind the scenes here as they get ready for the podium presentation. Great to have this little insight here with the drivers all lined up, ready to head out to the top steps. Let's listen in. Yeah, good to see Simmons back there, has to be said. Sat next to Francesco Simonazzi, and Lomko alongside him too. And then you've got Garcia, and of course Freddie Lubin with another podium this season. Great talents for the future. Simonazzi also detailing about how his season has gone and how he's tried to push the boundaries of his race performance. Coming out onto the podium now, It is Freddie Lubin standing tall in P3, yet another podium that he can celebrate. Ayrton Simmons also steps out second place, and that's his best result of the season. Finished third in Hungaroring, second today. He'd be delighted with that. And Lomco takes yet another win this season, making that, as I said before, his 6th win here in Euroformula Open Championship. And they will be lifting the trophies aloft. But first of all, we will have a national anthem for Lomco. Well, there we have it. National anthem there for Vladislav Lomco, your winner here in the overall classification in the Euroformula Open Race 2. Simmons alongside him as well. The trophy presentation now taking place here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia. First of all, Freddie Lubin will accept the 3rd place award, lifts it high. Thumbs up as well after a great drive indeed. Continuing yet another great defensive display. Did very well actually to broaden the gap between him and Mansell. Obviously Mansell had other things on his mind with Goethe right behind him. Ayrton Simmons taking his best result of the championship, and he's celebrating. He knows what it means. A wonderful result for Ayrton Simmons, who last featured back at Hungaroring. As I said before, 3rd place was his best result that weekend, doing exceptionally well to do so as well. And also Vladislav Lomco, your rookie champion, 2nd in the standings, keeping Mansell at bay. Obviously it was a huge battle for that 2nd place overall, but Lomco dazzling again, and one for the Motor Park and Crypto Tower team as well. We've done it superbly well this year. We've brought so many great talents, and we've driven the cars superbly as well. The photo to share as well amongst the 3 podium sitters at the top end. We will of course be bringing you the rookie podium classification as well. We'll have 3 drivers there to discuss. There is Christian Mansell in conversation with Timo Rumpkill. Of course, Christian has had a very eventful season himself. Champagne now getting ready, all the rose water, shall we say, and it sprays Freddie Lubin as well, all 3 of them getting a face full of it. And great to see Simmons up there too. Lomco taking yet another one. But it's been a great weekend, Ian. It's been a pleasure to watch, certainly some of these talents. Of course, we've got one more race this afternoon, but...
Yes, it's not over yet.
It's not over
race
yet.
3 at 5:20 this afternoon. Also, the rookie podium. Vlad Lomco, we believe, has already wrapped up the rookie championship for 2022. We'll see him stand on the top step of the rookie podium momentarily as well. Just in the driver's briefing, trying to listen into Francesco Simonazzi, it sounded as though he had a fuel issue. In fact, we've run out of time, unfortunately, for the rookie podium. But join us this afternoon at 3:20 for the final race of the 2022 Euroformula Open Championship. We'll see you then.